अपना ब्रुकलिन कम्युनिटी सेंटर के ज़ेरे एहतमाम 29 फरवरी को पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी की इंफॉर्मेशन और गाइडेंस के लिए 2 सेशन मुनक्कद हुए। स्पीकर्स थे एम गेट से सेंसस डायरेक्टर आसिया बादी, यूएस सेंसस ब्यूरो से सीनियर पार्टनरशिप स्पेशलिस्ट अब्दुल्ला हसन, सिटी कंप्ट्रोलर ऑफिस से डायरेक्टर आलिया लतीफ और एपी पैक के डायरेक्टर अतर हुसैन। पहले सेशन में आसिया बादी ने कम्युनिटी बोर्ड्स और वॉलंटियर वर्क पर इजहार ख्याल किया। दूसरे सेशन में सेंसस 2020 की अहमियत, पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी की इसमें शिरकत को सहल और आसान बनाने के लिए कोशिशों पे बात की गई। इन सेशंस को कामयाब बनाने में अपना ब्रुकलिन कम्युनिटी सेंटर की जानिब से चेयरमैन परवेज सिद्दीकी, प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर इरम हनीफ, डायरेक्टर शाजिया भट्टू और इकरा ने अहम रोल अदा किया। सेशन में तलबा और तालिबात, वॉलंटियर्स और पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी की एक कसीर तादाद ने शिरकत की।
I wanted to spend some time talking to you a little bit about some of the volunteer work that I do and how that has impacted both me personally, but also how I've been able to take that into both other work that I do for the community, the Muslim community, as well as my professional work. So how many of you, I know Mr. Pervez and Irma are on community boards, how many of you are familiar with what the community boards do? Are you familiar? So the community board is the most local level of government. They're not elected, but they hold a very, very important planning role. So when there was a controversy around building a masjid near World Trade Center in the early 2000s, I know many of you guys are quite young, there were people who actually protested that a masjid cannot be built so close to the World Trade Center mosque. And there were people that actually came from, we think, Staten Island and New Jersey to protest that, and it was at a community board zoning committee, and the community board said no, there is no reason why this masjid cannot be built here. They should be able to build. That's racist against Muslims, and they still stood strong against that racism. I joined the health committee. I became vice chair and then chair of that committee, and they added education to my committee. And from there now I'm vice chair of the board, and inshallah I plan to run for chair of the board this fall. So it's been really, really amazing, and I say that because those chairs and those community board positions, you learn content, you learn how sort of policy is made or how agencies work, but there's also a skill set that you learn. So prior to being on the community board, I wouldn't have been very comfortable speaking in front of all of you guys. I would not have felt really comfortable leading a meeting or moderating a meeting, but the community board gave me those skill sets to be really comfortable in managing groups of folks. And community board means you have lots of different folks with very strong opinions about what they want, and they can, and part of the role is to really make sure you engage that community and help them feel heard and help them resolve their issues, not always to what they want, but help them feel that they've been able to voice their terms. Democratic politics was something that was completely new to me, and I live in a district that is not Pakistani and certainly not Muslim. I live in Murray Hill in East Manhattan. It's predominantly white and very Jewish, but they have been really wonderful, and they actually really wanted to encourage my engagement. And I will say to you, through that experience, I learned a lot. I learned from other folks who actually went through struggles. Like the woman who is my district leader, she's Jewish. She's been involved since the 60s. She was involved when the Jewish community didn't know what they were doing and were learning. And so for her, it's very important to help support Muslim communities to understand and do things. And and through the Democratic Club, it gave me a more intimate way to get to know my elected officials, and even more so to get to know the future elected officials. Right? I think I'll leave it here, and I'm happy to answer questions here.
And last but not least, I would like to introduce Athar Hussain. Athar Hussain is the Executive Director of APNA. This commission was created to stand by those who stand up against bigotry, prejudice, and hate. APPAC was created as a resource not only for Pakistanis, but for all communities nationally. The committee works together to bring justice and equality for all. Athar is known for his motivational attitude in helping give communities a voice. And now I would like to welcome Athar Hussain.
A little bit about myself. I don't think I ever saw myself being in politics or government. I fell into by mistake. I showed up in an office thinking it was a forum, but they were hiring. And then the person who was hiring convinced me that I should leave my job and come work for the government at a $24,000 pay cut. And I'm known to be making bad decisions all my life. So I was like, hey, yeah, sure, that sounds like a good plan. Let's do that. So I left my job in hospital, I was an assistant director for mental health wing, and started working at a elected official's office. My first job was data entry in the kitchen because they didn't have any desks for me in their office. So I was like, this is not great. I mean, this is what I signed up for. But anyway, lo and behold, I love it. I think this is something very important to our community, right? So I think our biggest challenge, that I want to talk about is, what do you guys think is on the lack of resources, whether it's an organization, whether it's a platform, whether it's a place like this place, right? A physical place. What is that we lacking? And you guys are prime target for me, because I always want to engage younger audience who you guys are between 12, 15, 17, whatever the age groups are. In 10 to 15 years, you guys will be the one who will be standing up here and speaking. But that will not happen unless we are actively looking to really create that space and a platform.
Now we're going into the Q&A. So, do you guys have any questions for them?
I've warmed you guys up, come on.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Don't be shy, just
Go ahead.
speak up.
In addition to trust, in addition to the diversity of Muslim communities, there's also, what might be manifesting here, there's sometimes a generation gap, right? So I think this is where this youth wing can be very helpful in bridging that gap, and particularly when it comes to marketing. So when I got up there, and there was a whole host of things that were being said, what resonated the most with this age demographic? And why is that important? Because if you want anyone to be part of something, they want to be part of success, but you have to also speak to them in terms of their cultural relevance. I was in broad daylight, and not one person said anything. It was broad daylight. I was just trying to go to school, just like all of you try to do, right? And the thing was, in that moment, I realized something. If I don't stand up for myself, no one's going to stand up for my mother. Not even me, my mother. So when someone asks a question, you don't even wait for it. You shouldn't be waiting for anybody to ask you a question to tell us what you think. You should be of the first who's going to stand up and say, let me tell you how we're going to handle this situation, inshallah.
To kindly concentrate and try to understand what are we talking about. Maybe it's too dry subject for the youth members, but it really matters a lot. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, I guess. I want to welcome our esteemed panel over here, Asif Ali and Brother Abdullah, for joining us today. One of the most important things that I want to talk about today is why it is important for our community to participate very actively in the 2020 census. Unfortunately, 10 years ago when the last census was done, we absolutely did not participate. The importance of participating is when more demographic numbers come in, your allocation for funding, for schools, for roads, for anything that is spent in the community is directly related to the demographics or the population who are registered in this. So that is why it is important for our schools to get money, for parks to get money, for more legislators or funding. It only helps the community. And also recognizes that a large part of our Muslim community resides over here, and they're a force to reckon with. And this is also important in terms of elections, in terms of seats, and in terms of our viability as a community. So take it, like a religion, that is how important it is for this time around that we must all participate, encourage people who are not aware of it. And it doesn't really matter if you are legal or illegal, whatever, nothing is going to happen. It is absolutely important, and I urge the youth because they are the ones who are computer savvy, they can do it electronically, they can help. There is going to be a field force which will do it. But there is a reluctancy on the part of our seniors to really go through this process, and we need to help them. A hand-holding is what will you come along.
And we felt that the census was incredibly important to all advocacy work and actual representation work that Muslims could do. So I'm their New York Census Director, doing work locally, but also doing webinars nationally. And I appreciate that many of you guys read the material that we gave you and knew a little bit about the census, but the census is actually mandated in the Constitution for account for every single person in the U.S. And when the first census happened, it counted about 3.9 million folks in America, and George Washington was like, no, there's an undercount. There has to be more than 4 million Americans. And the reason he felt like he wanted more than 4 million is he wanted England and France to be scared. He wanted them to know that there were enough Americans here, we were strong, we were growing, and not to think that they could come back over and win a war against us. And I tell you that the census is an opportunity for us as Pakistanis and us as Muslims to really show that we're here. We are a force. We pay taxes, we pay sales taxes, we pay federal taxes, we pay state taxes, and it is our way to get those money that are our fair share back for our communities, back to organizations like APNA, back to our city and state for subway stations. And like we learned in 2016, that every vote matters and elections have consequences that we live with, right, for many, many years until we can get have another election.
In order to to really understand, for example, just to give one example, if you know, which communities have high rates of asthma and what are the factors, the socioeconomic factors affecting why there are high rates of asthma in this community, for example. So it's so fundamental to just really so much of decision making, not just by governments, of course, by private enterprise. Where do we locate businesses, and where do we need new transportation arteries? When everyone's counted, we know that we need more, bus lines in this area because we don't have enough people. We have not enough ways in which people can commute to work, for example, go to school. So it's so fundamental to how all processes of decision making are made. Because we know how many people there are in the United States, and we know where they live. So that's why it's so fundamental. So it's just important to know what, for example, if everyone's counted, we know how many young people are going to turn 4 next year. So we know how many preschool teachers we need to.
Basically, census day जो April 1st है, but census का self response period तो March 12 से start हो रहा है और Okay, and then there are 3 ways to complete census का जो फॉर्म है आप 3 तरीके से कर सकते हैं ऑनलाइन बाय पेपर यानी पेपर के कागज आपके घर पे आते हैं या आप लेते हैं सेंसस का फॉर्म या फिर कोई फेडरल सेंसस का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव आपके घर पे नॉक करता है और आपसे सेंसस का फॉर्म फिल कराएगा। ब्रुकलिन की बात कर रही हूँ, पूरे ब्रुकलिन में जो सबसे लोअर सेंसस का रिस्पॉन्स रेट था वो ब्राइटन बीच का था। So, इस दफा हमें ब्राइटन बीच की पूरी कम्युनिटी ने मिलके ये काम करना है, हमने इस नंबर को completely change कर देना है। Yes, are we committed to do it? Yes. Okay. So, we're gonna say now, Muslims count? Yes. Yes. Muslims count? Yes. Brooklyn count? Yes. Okay. So, APNA youth count? Yes. Who's gonna do this with me? Brighton Beach counts. Yes. Brighton Beach counts. Yes. APNA Youth Wing counts. Yes. I want a couple of youth members to come here, join me here, and hold these posters. Women counts. Muslim women counts. Yes. Okay. Picture. Who's taking the picture? Ikra, Rabia, Anika, whoever is there.
I'll take the picture.
He's going. Okay.
There's so many cameras, I don't know किधर देखना है, but देखते रहे.
1 second, please.
ओके थैंक यू। तो आप क्या समझती हैं, बहन भाइयों को क्या कहेंगे?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। बहुत से लोग मेरे नाम से भी वाकिफ़ हैं और मेरी शक्ल से भी। मेरा नाम आबदा स्टार है। आजकल मैं वॉलंटियर इनके साथ काम कर रही हूँ और सेंसस का मतलब मर्दमशुमारी है। आपको इस चीज़ का अभी इल्म नहीं है कि 10 साल पहले जब मर्दमशुमारी हुई है तो हमारे लोगों ने डर के मारे ये फार्म नहीं भरे थे कि हमें कोई पकड़ना ले, क्योंकि बहुत से लोगों के पास इमिग्रेशन नहीं थी। लेकिन इसमें इमिग्रेशन का कोई ताल्लुक़ नहीं है और ये हम लोगों की फ़तह है कि उन्होंने ये कालम ख़त्म किया है। इसी तरह हम इस मुल्क के शहरी हैं, हमारे पास ग्रीन कार्ड है या नहीं है इसका कोई ताल्लुक़ नहीं। हम यहाँ मौजूद हैं, हम न्यूयॉर्क में रह रहे हैं, पूरे अमेरिका में रह रहे हैं। मेरी आपसे ज़ाती दरख्वास्त है, छोटे छोटे 10 सवाल हैं, उसको आप भर दीजिए और आइंदा 10 सालों में आपको इतनी सहूलतें मिलेंगी और हमारा जो मुस्लिम अकाउंट है, हमारा जो नंबर शुमार है मुस्लिम का, वो बढ़ जाएगा। ये हमारा इस मुल्क में ज़िंदा रहने के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है। ये मेरी आपसे दरख्वास्त है। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।